Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. Now, this is going to be a topic that I think honestly kind of encapsulates the show's title, what I'm about to speak on right now, that has been going around the internet it just appeared. It wasn't really prompted by, I believe, anything that's been shown in the media. There's no movie coming out about this. There's no real game, TV show, but it just kind of appeared on X one day. And it was, can you and 100 of your boys, or 100 men, could they take down a gorilla? 100 men. And I was like, well, no doubt. One gorilla, 100 men. Yeah, that's going to happen. You know, barehanded, I mean, it doesn't matter. If these men are ready to whoop some gorilla booty, it's going to happen, right? A gorilla, to me, is a very large animal. It is. It's a beast. But I do think that a lot of Hollywood likes to make it seem like gorillas are so much bigger than humans are, which is not very accurate. How many of you seen Planet of the Apes, the movie? The newest movies even, right? Those are CGI apes over mocap humans crawling like apes. But they make the gorillas freaking 7 feet, 8 feet tall when they stand up. That is not the case in reality. Now, I haven't been to a zoo in a very long time, but I do see videos on YouTube about gorillas. I've seen documentaries. I've seen videos on social media about apes, wildlife in general. That stuff fascinates me. And gorillas, and I'm talking about the gorilla, right? The silverback gorilla is not as big as it's made out to be in media and in entertainment. It just isn't. It's also a little disappointing too, because when I've been to the zoo, and I haven't been to the zoo many times, but if I can dig deep into the archives of what I remember about gorillas, is they're not very aggressive creatures. They're more lazy, if anything else. They don't really pick fights out of anger. They're more in defense mode. From what I've seen in reality. At the zoo, I've been at the San Diego wildlife area. I don't even know what it's called, but it's pretty cool actually. It's like a big, giant, zoo sanctuary, and they have gorillas there too, and it's pretty cool. But I've seen gorillas in real life. They're not very hostile. If anything, what they do is they like to show their might, and they'll pound their chest and they'll ooh ah at you, and then they'll just kind of try to scare you. They're not really trying to fight you. Now, of course, I'm thinking to myself, of course 100 humans can beat up a gorilla. Now, I'm not saying that we should. That would not be very nice to the gorilla, because the gorilla doesn't know any better, right? Human beings, we have an intention to whoop booty on this gorilla. The gorilla's what is going on, right? The gorilla isn't smart enough. So it would be a crime for this to happen, let me be very honest. But as a hypothetical to think about, yeah, 100 men would whoop a gorilla's ass. 100%. And, I don't think that there would be any real injuries to us, because we would just outnumber the beast. It'd be pretty easy. Now, if this was a chimpanzee, those monsters are dangerous. They will mess you up for fun. I don't know what it is about chimpanzees, but those guys will mess you up just to mess you up. And from what I've heard and from what I've seen, is they like to attack the face and strip just identify your face. Like they'll claw it, they'll rip you off, they'll rip your eyeballs out, they'll bite off your nose and cave in your face. Like I've seen some pretty crazy, after photos of people surviving, just absolute being mauled by chimpanzees. Now, if it was 100 men against chimpanzees, there might be a couple, broken bones and shit, but I believe that the sheer numbers of mankind would just stomp the shit out of this chimpanzee. Not saying it should happen, but hypothetically, if you think about it, of course 100 men could whoop some ass on a chimpanzee. Those things actually terrify me more than gorillas. Because not only do they eat plants and fruits and veggies, but they eat meat as well. They're more like us than anything. I've seen the documentary Chimp Empire, and those boys, they will eat monkeys and other chimps, just because they're hungry. Is that wild to think about? It definitely was a shocking realization that these guys eat meat. It's like, damn, they have literally a taste for blood out there. They will eat whatever they can to survive, including meat, which is weird to think about. But then the conversation turns, right? I've seen this online. Didn't really think too much about it. I was like, this is kind of an easy answer. Yes, mankind, 100 men would whoop ass on a gorilla or a chimpanzee. Easily. And not like easily like it's going to be a struggle, but like determining on the numbers. Like, we'll probably lose a few boys against a chimp, but we will come out victorious, right? And then the question appeared from one of my friends, like, could you single-handedly take down a gorilla? I didn't ask this. My friends did. To me, personally. And I thought about it, and I'm like, I'm not going to be silly about this. I'm going to take this incredibly seriously and think, because I love thinking about this type of stuff, because it is entertaining to me, and it gets me my head off of reality. It's fun for me to think about these type of hypotheticals, because it would never happen, right? Like, I would never go and fight a gorilla one-on-one. But hypothetically, if I did, how would I approach this? So I asked him, hey, do I get a weapon? He said yes, but no firearms, like no guns. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to break it down for you right now. Sword, I would win. Axe, I would win. Spear, I would win. Short sword, like what the Romans and the Greeks used, I would win. Lightsaber, easily win. Right? I would win against a gorilla in even with a bat. I think I could beat up a gorilla. I would just whoop him straight across the head, concuss him, and then that would be it. He would not wake up. I would win the battle, right? I would win. In fighting, right? Like boxing, MMA, when you knock somebody out, right? You're not killing them. You're just knocking them out. They can't fight back. So I wouldn't even have to actually kill the gorilla. I would just concuss the gorilla, and boom, I win the fight. Now, if it was a fight to the death, you got to do what you got to do. I'm going to fight for my life in that situation. I'm not going to let a gorilla end my existence on this planet, right? The gorilla does not appreciate the beauty of this planet as much as I do. Like, do you think a gorilla is walking through his jungle paradise and appreciating his jungle paradise like I would? No, he's just walking around looking for, a berry to eat, a place to take a dump, maybe a tree to find some bugs, eat them, right? End the lives of innocent bugs, and then move on, right? He isn't appreciating the beauty of nature as I would. I think that's a fact. Like, we can chalk that up as like that is a win for mankind over beast. Like, they're not appreciative of what they got. I'm just saying, they're just walking around, peanut-sized brain, smelling and shit, being loud, right? And just, living their pointless life, just moving what's in front of them. No aspiration, no goals, just kind of living around. I mean, we like to say that, the jungle is the animal's home, but are they paying their rent? Like, are they taking care of the trees and the forestation and the plants and the bugs? I mean, they're just kind of there for free. They're all kind of bums. They're just, there. Who gives them the right to, like, keep their area? I'm obviously joking around, but, like, I think that we as a species are just much more appreciative of our surroundings than animals. I'm just saying. There's so many people out there that love animals so much. I agree. Animals are cool. They're badass. Dogs are sick. Not a huge fan of cats, but dogs are pretty cool. I do like tigers and bears, like, to view as like that's cool, or that is a mighty fine beast right there. Like, that will clobber me without a weapon. Holy shit, But it's like, animals don't appreciate each other. They don't at all. So, like, I think I'm better. I'm better than a gorilla. Maybe they could probably clobber me fist to fist, but, like, I don't care. I'm better than you because I know that I'm better. You don't even know what know what you're thinking. You're probably just thinking, like, this leaf is green, and that's it. Oh, big whoop, King Kong. But yeah, if I had a weapon, hand-to-hand weapon, melee weapon, like I said, sword, spear, short sword, axe, lightsaber, done, easy. Staff with magic, done. Staff without magic, like a stick, probably fend him off a little bit, but I think I'll walk away with, like, maybe a broken arm or something like that, but I would walk away, and he would walk away as well. So gorilla, honestly, like, not really much of a problem, just because their nature is not aggressive. They're not going to want to attack me. Also because they're not even that big. I'm not a huge guy. I'm 5'11". But on a good day, I think with the right shoes, I'm like 6. So if I appear big, I think he would not want to attack me. They say do that with bears too. To do that with bears, that you should not run away when a bear sees you. First of all, how does anybody even get that information in the first place? If you see a bear, do not run. That means somebody must have done that and got away and said, yo, guys, if you see this beast out there and you panic and he roars at you, and what if it's a lady bear and it's got cubs and they get super protective and they charge at you? Do not run. Motherfucker, like, what am I supposed to do? Stand there, brace for impact? I'm running. I'm sorry. I will take my chances running. At least I won't see him, eat my face. He'll bite the back of my neck like I'm some kind of deer or elk and then just snap it and I'll be out cold. That's fine. But I'm not going to stand my ground, put my arms up, and that's it. Like, how is that going to make a bear who's wanting to attack me back off? I never understood that. Now, there's other rules too, which or other precautions, I should say, when faced with a bear, faced with an absolute beast. Back in the day when they were, when human beings, right, when we came to America, when the English came to America and were settling in the East Coast and then moved to the South, and we're like, let's colonize the frontier, let's blaze the frontier, let's go west. They came across a beast called a grizzly bear, right? The most, like, dangerous land animal on the planet. And they could not fight these guys because their guns were not strong enough. So they lost a lot of people to grizzly bears back then because they straight up could not fight them. Right? Sure, like a black bear, maybe. Yeah. Wolves, yes. Charging bison, yeah. Wild boars, yeah. Mountain lions, yeah. A bear? No, that's like nature's tank. You can't just like fight that off with your muskets and like a little ball for a bullet. Like just a bigger BB, right? It's not going to work. I mean, those things were like nightmare inducing. Like that was death in the mountains. You could not traverse the mountains without being like, all right, we're going into bear territory. We need to be on our ass. We need to, check our surroundings, make sure that someone is armed. Everybody's armed at all times. I'm surprised that people actually give hikers bear spray as a defense mechanism against a grizzly bear. Bear spray. Could you imagine that? No, I want a gun. I don't want bear spray. I don't give a shit if it works or not. I want to make sure this thing goes down. Hell, like if I'm going to be charged by a grizzly, do you think I'm going to feel safe pulling out my can of bear spray? Think about what I just said. Bear spray. I don't care how potent it is. I don't care how smelly it is, or if it burns the fucker's eyes, out. That doesn't make me feel safe whatsoever, I'll be honest. Bear spray? Who thought of that? I mean, no, arm me with an assault rifle, something that'll put this fucker down. I don't want I can't imagine anybody going into like, the Rockies, Montana, Wyoming, where there's, Canada, where there's grizzly bears present, free roaming, hungry, and like, oh no, here's your bear spray. Take that. That'll protect you. Absolutely not. No way. There's no way I could not do that. Absolutely not. And I wouldn't want like a hunting rifle either with a scope where I can't just point blank shoot a fucker. Nah, dude. That's insane. That would be insane. A bow and arrow, I don't know about that either. Like, am I gonna become Legolas and draw that thing back with like a split second and just pump like 3 arrows in him in like 30 seconds? I don't think I could do that either. I'll be honest. I'm not an elf. I can't do that. I can't shoot 3 at a time right in his skull. I'm not that good, At least give me something where I could at least scare him with like a loud noise, A shotgun, yeah, with buckshot, an assault rifle with heavy caliber rounds. Like, give me something that will at least kind of spook him. Bear spray? Really? Super salty spray? I don't even know what's in bear spray, but I'd imagine it's like, made of like something, humane and nice and polite and not too harmful. Really? You think I'm going to give a shit if I see a bear charging at me? If I'm being, is this going to hurt him? No, I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't care. But the conversation did turn from gorilla to bear. Now, could I beat a bear one-on-one? Now, I've talked about this a few times, and only with a sword as my option, because I do think that I could beat up listen, I don't think with a bear there is really like no knocking him out in this situation. I think I have to actually slay the beast. I would have to slay him in order to be called the victor. I would have to slay the bear. Now, it would be a battle for the ages, right? Listen. This is 2025. We have made content of pretty much anything. MMA is running the world. People are getting straight up fucked up on screen. Bloodied, battered, beaten down. I have seen UFC fight highlights where they are just going to town on somebody's skull when he's knocked out for a good 5 or 6 punches before the fight is even called. Okay? We do not care about violence. We don't care about trauma, blood, gore. We don't care about that. That, for one, people like to say, like, we are too desensitized as a society. Well, motherfucker, you have the UFC going on where people are getting their legs snapped, their faces beaten in. I think there was a fight like maybe a few months ago where a woman fighter got her forehead fucking exploded open with like an elbow or a leg, and there is a gash that is like inches long on her forehead where it's exposing her flesh on TV. So we don't, listen, you can be like, oh, we don't want to show it's too sensitive. Shut the fuck up. Shut the hell up. What are you talking about? So it would be a battle for the century, for the ages, for all of mankind if they were to televise me fighting on a grizzly bear. They would not hesitate because, hell, you already have this, right? This is the closest thing that we got to death that you're televising. I could die if I was to fight a grizzly bear. I could very well I could perish. But hey, the numbers, the views would be sick, right? So this would be a battle for the ages. The ages. So I thought about it and put myself in the situation. Me versus a bear. In the ring, it would be in the forest, though. I would give the bear the advantage. I would put him in a forest, the woods. We'd make a ring out of it, right? Like an octagon. Big enough for us to get momentum, big enough of us to get some space, not like the octagon in the UFC. That ain't going to work. I'm sorry. And I would be in the, I would have to, have like this war paint on. I might be, I would actually have to armor myself up because, it wouldn't be fair. I couldn't do it like, back in like in the Ice Age days. It just wouldn't be fair, right? We got to make it fair at least, right? He's a bear. And I'm not talking about no bitch-ass bear. I'm talking about a grizzly bear, right? I mean, that's what people are going to watch. If I was to fight a black bear or a panda, it's not going to do the numbers that the people are going to want to see. I'm being very honest. So I would fight the grizzly. Because one, if I win, I'm like the king of man. I would be mankind's king. Like, there's no way. I mean, if I win against a grizzly bear and it's shown, I am the king of man. There is no doubting that. I would be the king of man. So it would be a battle for the ages with a sword. I would come out on top for sure, though. I would get a little beaten up. I ain't gonna lie. I would probably get wounded if I was to go up against it with the sword. But I think that, with the sword, I can get some distance from the bear. I can poke him around a little bit, make him cause some internal bleeding. All I need is like a good stab, a good thrust, into the heart of the bear. I would have to do some research a little bit because, I can do research while the bear can't. So, sorry, bear, whatever. You don't know. And I would do some research, figure out where the soft spot is, where I can slash him, where I could cut him. I have it all kind of planned out. Like, if he's going to go for a swipe, I'm just going to barrel roll, to the right, and then whoom, cut off his arm. And then there, I'd probably get swiped too a bit. I'm not going to lie. I said I would get wounded. I would get wounded probably. But I would survive, and I would come out on top. With a sword, yeah, I would come up on top. An axe, I think, with an axe, oh, man, it would be a battle. Any sense, this is a battle for the ages, right? But I think with an axe, it kind of like limits my my range of attacks a little bit. There's only one edge of the axe that's sharp, that's deadly. The other one is not really. It's kind of blunt. So I think with that it would be a little tougher. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna humble myself right now. I think with that one, I get a couple hacks in him, but I don't survive. I'll admit that I would not make it out of that alive. A spear. I think with the spear, this would be maybe one of the easier ones to defeat the bear because of the sheer distance that I could provide myself from the bear. Now, a good spear, right? A sharp, long spear that I could just poke and stab at the bear. He is not going to want to attack me because also I could just throw the spear at him in the vitals and he would be down, right? So with this one, I'm going to give myself a little bit more of a. I'll get a few scratches, maybe a few nicks there. I might slip up a little bit. He might be able to get the jump on me. But I think at the end of the day, I will easily, not easily, but like comfortably beat this bear, and I would be the king of man. A short sword. This one's going to be a little bit more barbaric, I'll be honest. A short sword, like what the Romans and the Greeks used back in the day, they're sharp, they're strong, but I can't really put that much distance between us, I'll be honest. So this is going to be a scrappy fight. I think I can get a couple licks in him, but my sword against his claws, they're going to be going like at it. If you don't know, bears have very, very long and sharp claws. They could break a moose's back with a swat from their paw. I've heard about it and I believe it full-heartedly. But I think that in this battle, like I'm going to get him a couple times, but I think that we both die. I think what I can do is I can probably give him the last blow. And then, he's not going to be able to fix himself up, but I also would be taken out for the count. So I believe with a short sword, we would both perish in this fight. Still do the numbies, but it wouldn't be the outcome that either of us wanted. So, a staff with just a stick, I'm toast. There's no way I survive this. I could probably hit him a couple times, maybe poke him a few times, maybe get a little bit of distance, maybe whack him a few times, but I lose that battle. That would not be considered a battle of the century because it would just be one-sided, and no one cares about one-sided fights or one-sided competition, right? That's silly. That's stupid. That would not be a battle of the ages. A staff with magic, also. I'm talking like Gandalf magic, right? Like light beams fending off dragons. I mean, I would have a much more potent magical staff that it would also not be a battle of the ages because I could just magically, cast a spell and then kill the motherfucker. So that would be easy, right? Like Alakazam, boom, you're done. I would win. No questions asked. Not a battle of the century, right? And last but not least, lightsaber. Not a battle of the century because I would win. I would take one hack at his face and it would just split open and he would die. Easily, right? Now, what would be the best? What would the people want to see the most? I think the sword one would be an incredible one to watch. That would be awesome, and that would be like man has conquered beast once and for all. There is absolutely no question about it. Man has conquered beast. That would be the king of man. That would be the most entertaining fight ever. And just the sheer thought of that matchup, the scenario, the fight itself, would be incredible to view. I think it would be. The short sword one, though, as I was talking to myself about it, it would actually be kind of wild. It would almost be like the bad ending to a video game, right? Where it's like it's a bad ending, but it was a good ending. Like you sort of understand the ending. You can resonate. It resonated with you because it was done well. Like me and the bear both dying, right? A tie, a draw of the century. Of the ages. That would be, that would kind of suck for both mankind and beast, right? But it would be entertaining as hell. And it would provide a lot of drama, a lot of chaos, a lot of emotion, raw emotion, a lot of blood shed. But that would be kind of crazy though, if you think about it. So if you were to rank them, what would you want to see the most? knowing the outcomes. Sword, number 1. Short sword, number 2. Spear, number 3. Axe, number 4. Staff without magic, number 5, because that would just be a womp. Staff with magic, it'd be a womp for the bear. Lightsaber at the very end would be a womp for the bear. So, in terms of theatrics and entertainment purposes, I mean, sword is number 1. Short sword would be number 2. Yeah. I mean, I understand that this is a silly ass topic, but that's what the show is all about. We talked about theatrics and what people want to see. Showmanship, right? A show. People want to see a good show, no matter what it is. There's stuff that happens at work. Drama happens, drama unfolds, conflicts unfold, and you're like, oh, this is a show here. You're looking over like, what is going on? You want to see what's happening, whatever there may be. Someone fighting, arguments, people lying, backstabbing them and one another. It's just like, oh, I want to see more of this. Maybe outside of work, maybe people at the store. You're just walking, shopping, people get into an argument there, parking lots. You want to see something that's like out of the ordinary. You don't see it in your day-to-day life, and you see it happen. Yeah, we see it in movies and all that, but you're like, oh, I want to see this. What's going to happen here? And that's in movies too, right? All these movies that come out nowadays, right? The term Hollywood is used quite a bit because it's an exaggeration, and it's a over, like, and almost like a fake, it's a fake way of things happening. It's staged. It's someone wrote it, right? Someone thought of it from maybe an experience that they had, and they're like, I kind of had this experience, but let's make it more theatrical, right? Make it more entertaining. Make it like believable in a way, but also like, aw, or ooh, like bring the emotion in it, right? That's how movies are. A lot of movies are like that. They're super fake, which I like. Don't get me wrong. I love movies. I enjoy Hollywood at its finest when they could make a film that is emotionally going to hit you, impactful, beautiful to watch, great characters, great action, and the theatrics are high. I love it. I love that part about filmmaking. I just love how it could be told into a, all put into one 2.5 to 3 hour experience where you can feel all these emotions, and the theatrics are high, and you just like watching it. It's entertainment, right? I love that about movies. I think that that's great about them. But I recently saw a movie that has absolutely no theatrics whatsoever. I saw Warfare last week. Last Friday, I believe. Yeah. Last Friday I saw Warfare. And I had made a point, I had been wanting to see it for a while. I was just very busy, with stuff, work and all that stuff, and then stuff after work. But I had to, really make this point that I needed to see this movie because I've been wanting to see it, and then people at work were telling me like it's so good. And I'm like, wow, really? Okay, I'm gonna go check this out for sure. Like, there's no I can't just delay this. I want to experience this movie on the big screen, so I did. Right, morning showing. Right, I wake up in the morning very early. I work out. I come home. I shower. I go straight to the movies. I'm like, yeah, I ain't fucking around here. I'm going to go experience this movie. I get there. I get my popcorn, my soda. I haven't been to the movies since Deadpool and Wolverine came out last year. I believe it was last July. It's been a while since I've seen a movie because there hasn't been very many good movies that I've been wanting to watch. This one comes along. I'm hearing good things about it. I'm like, you know what? It's time to go back. And I'm excited. I got the butterflies. I'm like, I haven't been to a movie in so long. I haven't had the popcorn or the soda there so long. It's going to be a great experience, right? So I get in there. The movie begins. We were talking about theatrics and hamming it up. Now, I love war movies. I don't know what it is, but I always feel like very inspired by them because of what these people do in these movies, that's depicted in these movies. Now, I know it's Hollywoodized in most movies, and it's not true to what people experience in actual combat, but I get the I understand like it's a tremendous sacrifice that these people do in real life, where these movies do their best attempt to depict it. And I have the utmost respect for the veterans and people who served in the military, and I love that about them. And like when when you say thank you for your service, you really have to mean that, because it's a tremendous sacrifice that these people make when it comes to serving their country. And this movie doesn't hold back on delivering a new meaning when you say thank you for your service. I have not seen a war movie that has felt so real in depicting modern combat as real as this one. This is the most realistic war movie that I have ever seen. So realistic that it was tough to watch at some points in the movie. Like, it is from start to finish. It is a anxiety inducing movie of like, I don't know what's about to happen at all. And when stuff happens, you feel it, so it like rocks you to your core. There's no music in this movie. There's no score. There is no Hollywoodized, big battle scene. There is no Hollywoodized like, musical cues, Hollywood shots. Like, you're not going to see any Michael Bay shots in this at all. But it is to the core like the most realistic thing that I could imagine combat being ever. I mean, I like, there is some big time actors in this movie. Will Poulter, Joseph Quinn, a couple of the other guys I can't forget their names. But the performances in this were just maybe like the most realistic performances of like war that I have ever seen in my life. There is a moment in this movie where everything goes wrong and the soldiers are depicting the absolute hell of a situation that they are in, and it's almost too real. It was almost too real that I was actually kind of like not wanting to look at it, because I was getting very emotional as it was happening. It's like think of like a situation where you feel lost and multiply that by 1,000,000. Loss and no hope. It was hard to watch at times. I am pretty solid when it comes to these type of movies, like war movies, but this one definitely was like, whoa, I have never seen anything like this depicted this way. And I could tell you this, I'm like, it literally like wrecked me. And I was not expecting that at all. I couldn't believe it at some points. I was just like, I can't believe what I'm watching right now. I really can't. It really hits you deep. And when these actors are performing and acting like this, you're like, oh my God. Like, they are doing it's like they're there. This is a movie. This isn't real. They're depicting combat, but like, it's not real, but it feels like, holy shit. Like, it was almost horrifying. It was horrifying to watch, disturbing at points. And you're just like, wow. I mean, the movie was only an hour and a half long, but it felt like it was longer. Not in a bad way either. It just felt like, man, I experienced so much. I just went through so much in only an hour and a half long. I'm not even kidding you. It's like 95 minutes, this movie. And it was perfectly paced, perfectly, shot. There was no dread. There was no drag. mean, everything you don't expect anything that happens in this movie either at all. There's a couple of jump scares in this movie that actually scared the hell out of me. I was like, holy shit, I didn't expect that, or that caught me way off guard. And I was and like that was at a point where I'm like already like something's gonna happen, like, and the whole movie, like from the start to finish, you're like something's gonna happen. I already know something's gonna happen, but you're trying to expect it, and it just caught me way off guard. I couldn't believe it. And this movie is apparently based on the memories of the soldiers that they're telling the story of, or like they're adapting what they've seen. So it's just like, dude, this is too real, but it was incredible to watch. Incredible. Like, I was talking to my mom and my sister about it, and I'm like, I mean, it's a fantastic movie, but honestly, this is not for the faint of heart. Like, I mean, you probably would absolutely hate watching this. Like, it might just be like a little too much for you. I'm not even kidding. Like, I don't normally say that about these war movies because there's always a little bit of a Hollywood thing to them. This one, there is none of that. Like, it is what it is. It's warfare. That's literally what it is. And it was incredible. An incredible movie. Like I haven't seen many movies this year, but this is already like the number one for me. I might be a little biased because I enjoy war films and I enjoy the stories of like what these soldiers and men and women do for the country, and it actually makes me proud to be an American. But I mean, dude, like I mean, like when you say thank you for your service after you see this, I mean, like it's gonna have like an entire new meaning to it, dude. I'm not even kidding you. Like, it will. It kind of cuts into you, like it's an insane movie. It's insane. It's incredible. It's insane, and it's not for the faint of heart. I will tell you this now. Like, if you are going into it thinking like, I could it's gonna be, it might not be too gruesome. I mean, it is at times a little hard to watch, and that's me saying that. It can be a bit much. I'm just telling you now, this movie is not for the faint of heart, but it is incredible. So I posted this on X after I saw it. My score for Warfare, and I'll say it on the podcast because I feel like I have to. I feel like my X posts kind of can't get drowned out. So Warfare score 10 out of 10. Easy 10 out of 10. I didn't think it was going to be as good as people said. It's an A24 film. I was like, what's this going to be about? Is this going to be kind of spooky? Is this going to be kind of weird? Nah, this movie is what it is. It's warfare. It is. I mean, like, I couldn't even, like, it was just, my jaw was on the floor. The sound design in this movie is just incredible. I have never heard like more chilling and real like rounds being fired in a movie since like Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan was the most realistic like rounds being fired, explosions going off audio that I've ever heard. Up until now, this one is like maybe a little bit better, or if not tied with Saving Private Ryan's sound design of like the guns and like the explosions going off. It at times it's just so chaotic, and you can feel the tension growing throughout the movie, and you can feel it through the actors in this movie. It's just it's probably going to leave theaters very, very soon. But if you can get a chance to watch this, I would not miss out on it. I would not. I guarantee like this is going to be an experience that people have not experienced in a war film in a very, very long time. Probably since Saving Private Ryan. But yeah, Warfare. 10 out of 10 movie. I can't recommend it anymore. Just be prepared for it. Just be prepared because it is very, very good. Very, 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 very intense. But yeah, Warfare. 10 out of 10. On a little bit of a lighter note, I listen. I enjoy watching sports. It's one of my favorite things to do. There's nothing better, I think. As you get older, right? What I like to do, I there was a point in time where I like kind of stopped watching TV because I was just like, my phone is my entertainment. I got Instagram, I got X, I got YouTube. I'm good. As I've gotten older, I have noticed that sports have come back into my life. There's a time where they kind of were the most important thing to my life, and then they kind of went away because of how stupid YouTube is and how brain dead, entertainment that is, and how much you can waste time on that. But recently, what I've been doing is I've been coming home, and this is a beautiful time of year, right? I come home after working and working out, and I watch the NBA playoffs just on the couch. I'm just like, and I just sit there and I just watch basketball, and I'm just like, this is incredible. This is unbelievable. Like, this is my life. This is the life. This is actually, it's actually beautiful. It's a beautiful sight to just be like, maybe have some water, maybe have a little snack, and just watch sports. I did that when the Masters were on. I did that when I do that with football. A football Sunday where I can just sit there on the couch and have two TVs going, the main game and then the red zone on the other. It is a beautiful sight. It might be even more beautiful than like the Cayman Islands or a view of like an ocean view on like Fiji. No, I think that my TV setup and all the games and me just watching might be a more beautiful sight, beautiful view, right? And when you are a sports watcher like me, you also kind of consume media around sports, interviews, press conferences, right? And there was an interview that came out a couple days ago with none other than the most winningest coach in NFL history, Bill Belichick. Now, Bill Belichick has coached the Patriots for a very, very, very long time. Now, last year was his first year not coaching the Patriots. He's no longer the coach there. They had a parting, him and Robert Kraft and the ownership. He's now going to be coaching North Carolina, a college team, right? UNC. And I didn't really care about the signing. I'm not a UNC fan. I don't care that much about college football all that much. So I thought that was kind of a move that I was like, you know what? Maybe that's good for him. Maybe it's like he'll be working with like, college kids and really instilling like discipline and values into them. He can have like more of a control of the locker room, of the team itself. And, it's not as like independent as like on an NFL roster where everybody's an adult and they, you're the coach, but I mean, like, these are also grown men. It's a little bit tougher. While I was in college, it's like, it's either my way or the highway. You have the utmost power in college than you do in professional sports. So, he does an interview with CBS Sunday morning, I think, and he talks about his book. He talks about him leaving the Patriots, the relationship with Robert Kraft, his new position at UNC, and then he talks about his girlfriend. Her name is Jordan, and she's 24 years old. I don't have a problem with him dating a 24-year-old woman. With guys that old, there's other, couples, like billionaire guys with like really young girlfriends. Like, that's not uncommon, right? You see that everywhere. Executives, businessmen, older guys with young ass ladies, right? Like 50 years apart, right? And then you're like, You're the first time you see that, you're like, that's strange. What are they going to talk about? Right? And then you see it's like very common. And then you're just like, well, I guess this is just an old guy thing. Old guy thing with money, right? So I'm almost like a little numb to that. You kind of see it a little too much. You're just like, oh, well, there we go. There's another one right there. So her name is Jordan, right? And there's a question that's asked in the interview where the interviewer asks Bill Belichick how they met. And apparently it's in the clip of the interview that's published by CBS, where she says, straight up interrupts the interview and says, we're not talking about this. And the interviewer is like, oh, really? We're not? Like, we can't? And she's like, no. And I thought that was just kind of strange. Like that, I mean, like, he didn't even have an opportunity to get a sentence, a word out. Not even a letter, not even a syllable. He didn't even have time to respond. She just came in and was like, nope, we're not talking about that. And it was also, brought up in the clip that she had been interrupting the interview quite a bit as it was going on, which is kind of bizarre to me, like kind of weird. But, it was just kind of strange of why that was happening, like why she did not want that information to be public, I guess. I mean, it is their life. It is their relationship. So, they have a right to that, I guess. But it was also, kind of strange how CBS would like green light to keep that in the interview, that was happening. I'm sure that Belichick and Jordan must know that was going to come out as well, that they would have to, deal with the repercussions of that happening. But it is just kind of strange how, like, you never see in interviews that are published, right, that have like that type of behind the scenes tension or interruptions take place. It's always cut down where it looks like it's seamless, where it's like you're not going to see any of that behind the scenes crap in the actual published interview. But this one, they just put it out there. Straight up said like she's been interrupting, and it's just all there. So I can't even imagine like what she's feeling. Like, whoa, they actually kept that in there? Like, what's going on here? There must have been like some kind of contractual thing that she maybe, or her team or their team, did not fully read when they were signing on for the interview. Then CBS was like, well, they signed this, so hey, we're cool. Put it in there. I just thought that was kind of weird though. I don't know. That clip was making its rounds all over the internet. Everyone thinking like, what is this? What is going on? And it's weird because Belichick has always had this very stern, all business personality. His life is just football, 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 which I love that about him. I don't really like his team at all, but I respect greatness. Like, he is what he is. He stands on business. He's a football guy. I can appreciate that. Also being a lover of football, right? So I've always respected him. But seeing this other, like, this strange, not necessarily strange, but strange to me side of his personality. And because like they also had like, pictures in the interview from, I believe, her Instagram, where like they're doing like crazy like couple things, right? They like pose together. They let me see if I can find one. Oh, there's one where he's like posing as a fisherman and she is dressed up as a mermaid. And I don't know, I just never would have expected that Bill Belichick would be down for this type of crap, But hey, it looks like she loves him. He loves her. I guess that's totally fine. I don't know. It just seems it's totally a different light for him. Like, you never expected him to do any of this crap, Maybe private, but definitely not put it for the public to see. There's also one of them doing yoga poses together. It's just so strange. And this was never, I never knew about this until this interview was just going around the internet. And I was like, wait a minute. What is this? What's happening to my boy? Looks like she was a Miss Vermont USA candidate. So, she's a beautiful woman. She looks great, right? But it's like, I never would have expected that out of Bill Belichick, And I believe that he is on Instagram. Let me do a little research. Bill, he is on Instagram. Right, as he calls it, Instaface. Yeah, he's just posting things about football. Let's see, football, interview about football. Yeah, his is like all football, basically. It's only like when it's her Instagram, it's like, hey, look at this fun side of Bill. Look at he's cosplaying as a fisherman and I'm dressed up as a mermaid. Isn't that cute? I don't know, just kind of strange. Definitely something that you would never have thought of from Bill Belichick, but here we are. It's 2025, baby. 2025. He's probably thinking the same thing. Like, yeah, it's 2025. I could pose as a fisherman and she could pose as a mermaid. It's 2025. Hey, that's cool. That's awesome, dude. At least you're having fun. Dude. Last thing I'll talk about, though, is, I have to bring up one of the best days in football. The NFL draft results. The draft has been concluded, right? And we have our draft. We have who is on whose team now. And I'll be honest with you, this was not the most it wasn't even that hyped up of a draft, I think, in my opinion. In the first place, I'll be completely honest, but hey, it's still the NFL. It's still the NFL draft. I'm going to consume it. The number one pick this year was Cam Ward, quarterback from Miami. People thought that was going to happen, and it did happen. And you know what? Quarterbacks are always misdrafted. They're more misdrafted, I think, than any other position out there. Why? Because of the importance of a quarterback. And NFL teams sometimes can be a little delusional and have this like, oh, I can make them this, or I can change them to that, or I could, do this that he likes. And it never, not say never, but it doesn't work out always that smoothly, So Cam Ward to the Titans. If I'm Cam Ward, I'm like, this is going to be a challenge. This is going to be, I'm going to just have to show them what I'm really made of, because I'm looking at the Titans QBs right now. I think it's Will Levis and, I don't know who else is on there. All I know is Will Levis, and he is not really the guy in Tennessee right now. Travis Hunter went number 2 to the Jaguars. They traded up to get him. Travis Hunter is a great two-way player. If you think that he's going to be a two-way player in the NFL, that ain't going to happen. They like to ham it up and be like, he's going to be wide receiver. He's going to be a cornerback. Like, that's not how it works in the NFL, dude. Like, I don't care how talented you are in college. You think that you're going to be better than the top cornerbacks, the top wide receivers, even on the Jaguars alone? Like, I don't know if that's going to work. I'll be very honest. I'll go through the top 10 because there wasn't a whole lot that was really eye-popping in this draft. It's not like at all like last year's draft, which was electric. Abdul Carter, number 3 to the New York Giants. Will Campbell at number 4 to the Patriots. Mason Graham at 5 to the Browns. Ashton Genty, 6 to the Raiders. Armand Membuo at 7 to the New York Jets. Oh, man, this one's hard to pronounce. Tataroa McMillan to the Panthers at number 8. Kelvin Banks Jr. to the Saints at number 9. Colston Loveland to the Bears at number 10. I mean, there's not a whole lot of guys in the top 10 that I even knew were in this NFL draft, besides Travis Hunter and Cam Ward. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest watcher of college football, but hey, at least last year's was much. I knew a lot more of the players last year than this year in the top 10. I'll be very honest with you. So maybe that's on me. Maybe I'm just not that much of a college football watcher, but I just didn't. I didn't know any of these guys. I was just like, well, who are they? Who is he? I don't know. But and you probably, if you do watch football, if you do watch college football, if you watch any type of football, really, you're probably aware of Shedeur Sanders. Now, he was projected to go the second quarterback in the NFL draft behind Cam Ward. He wasn't. He didn't get drafted in the first round or the second or the third or the fourth. He went in the 5th round to the Cleveland Browns. Pick number 144 for Shedeur Sanders, which honestly, if you think about it, could be a high steal. If you think about it, who's their quarterbacks in Cleveland? Deshaun Watson, probably not going to play again. Probably will, probably not though. Joe Flacco, and then I believe Kenny Pickett is on that team. And then Shedeur Sanders. So if you're Cleveland and you're like, we got Shedeur Sanders at pick 144, that is a steal, brothers. That is a big steal, because I knew that he was probably going to slide after pick 15 in the first round, because I looked at who was ahead. I'm like, all these guys, they already got quarterbacks. I don't see him getting drafted, but I waited. I watched the entire draft on day one, because that's what I do. I love football. I watched and I was like, let me see the drama. Let's see it unfold. And it was drama, all right, but not in his favor. Not in Shedeur's favor. It was just he was slipping. And I looked and see who's next, who's got the next 10 picks. And I'm like, oh, it ain't happening, boys. It ain't going to happen. And sure enough, it concluded the first round and I was right. It did not happen. I could not believe it. And it ended. I'm like, man. And then the second day ended, and he still wasn't picked. I'm like, whoa. Nobody expected this whatsoever. Maybe these NFL teams got a little bit smarter. Maybe there's something that they know that we don't know. I mean, there is. 100% sure, yeah. But it was just like, damn. Everybody was wrong. Mel Kiper Jr. has never looked like more of a fool than he did in his pre-draft analysis, in his best available. He kept talking about Shedeur Sanders. He's the best quarterback available in the draft right now, and not picked till round 5. So what does that say to you about Mel Kiper Jr.? Possibly washed? Don't know what he's talking about? He kept championing Shedeur Sanders, but no moves were made to get him really till the trade to get him. But it was wild to see. It was wild, but you know what? Hey, as long as at least he got drafted. Shedeur Sanders to me is I don't necessarily think he's all that great, but I think that he would be good for the sport. And he's a likable dude. He's the son of Deion Sanders. And he's just got character. He's humble. He knows who he is. He's somebody that I could root for, Shedeur Sanders. So I'm happy that he did get drafted. And I think that he's in a maybe not the best team to be on, but it looks like he's going to be the starting quarterback. Like, I mean, I'm looking at who they got, and I'm like, he's got to be better than these guys, right? He's got to be better. I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, I think he might actually start. So this is not really the worst situation that he could get into. You know, it looks like he's got like a good 80% chance that he could start week 1. So yeah, I mean, like maybe he wanted to go first. Maybe he wanted to go in the first round. I mean, of course he did, but like he probably expected that. But I think that at least in like the situation in terms of the quarterback competition, I think it's playing in his favor. Then like if he were to go to I mean, like any other place, maybe besides Tennessee or besides Pittsburgh, where they don't have a quarterback right now, right? Those would be ideal places as well. And I had thought that the Steelers would have gotten him. I thought that the Saints were for sure going to get him, but they did not. So, I mean, it's not the worst situation to be in, but it's definitely not the best. But I think it's also a manageable situation in terms of the quarterback competition. So, yeah. Not the best draft I've seen, but definitely not the worst. Did have some drama. Not the drama that we were expecting, but nonetheless, it was drama. All right, that's going to be it for me today, people. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, and do all that good stuff. And yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week.